I went undercover before starting as the new district health inspector to see how kitchens really operated. Chef Randy shoved me in the walk-in freezer for 20 minutes, saying, "When I let her out, she'll either blow me or never work in this town again." Then he posted my home address in a restaurant group chat with my photo, warning, "Watch out for this scammer." Within hours, chefs were showing up at my apartment door, while others spray-painted "Liar Lives Here" on my wall. I was set to begin my official duties next week, but instead of a grand entrance, I wanted one quiet day of behind-the-scenes visits. Nothing could have prepared me for Chef Randy, the head chef other inspectors had called untouchable. I walked in through the delivery entrance wearing old sneakers and a messy bun, looking like any other job seeker. Randy, at his prep station, didn't even glance up from his chopping. "Kitchen's not hiring. Hostess applications are at the front," he said, pointing vaguely toward the door with his knife. Before I could respond, he grabbed my shoulders, spun me around, and pointed me toward the exit. I felt discarded, like a piece of trash. I decided to stand my ground. "I have experience in food service," I said calmly. That got his attention. He finally looked up and laughed loud enough to make other cooks turn and watch. "Free entertainment." "Guys!" he called out. "Another one who thinks watching cooking shows makes them a chef?" He circled me, narrating baby talk. "Does the widow girl know how to hold a knife? Can she wash a dishy-wishy?" Then he dumped a bus tub of dirty plates in front of me. "Show me you can handle the easiest job first." I started washing dishes, keeping my expression neutral while Randy performed for his team. I went undercover as the new district health inspector, only to be locked in a freezer, publicly smeared as a scammer, and terrorized by an entire network of chefs before my first official inspection. I dressed like a job seeker to slip into Randy's kitchen and witness real operations, until he dragged me behind the scenes, bullied me with fire and knives, and posted my home address in a restaurant group chat. Within hours, angry cooks were at my door and spray painting "Liar Lives Here" on my wall. Still, I refused to walk away. Over the next week, I meticulously documented every threat, violation, and confession, transforming Randy's smear campaign into the evidence that would topple his untouchable reign and forge a safer, more accountable culinary community. When I reached for an ingredient to inspect, he turned on the burner right beneath my hand as a prank. Flames shot up. I yanked my hand back just in time. He shoved a spoon at my face. "Taste this sauce. Open up." Before I could react, he dropped a knife near my feet. It clattered inches from my sneakers. The kitchen erupted in nervous laughter. "Turn around," Randy commanded, spinning me, until his hands lingered on my shoulders. "Not bad from behind. Bend over and get that pot from the bottom shelf." I crouched instead. He pulled me back up. "Bend over. Need to see if you can follow simple instructions." His breath was hot on my neck as he adjusted my apron from behind, taking far too long tying the strings. "Let me show you the proper grip," he whispered, pressing against me. I pulled away. His whole demeanor shifted. He scooped out my wallet, snapped a photo of my ID, and held it up to the other cooks. "This is going to every kitchen in the state. They'll know exactly what kind of girl comes begging for work. An intimacy worker, apparently." He had a restaurant group chat open, and he typed, "She's just a scammer. Don't let her near your kitchens." He'd captured my home address, too. The kitchen went silent. Then he dragged me to the walk-in freezer. "When I let her out, she'll either blow me or never work in this town again," he announced. The lock clicked shut. I sat shivering, checking my watch and mentally noting every violation I'd witnessed. 20 minutes later, Randy opened the door with a smirk, ready to be reasonable. I walked out without a word. Moments later, the owner burst in. "Has the health inspector arrived yet? I heard she'd be here by now." He stopped when he saw me, still shaking, and hurried over. "Inspector Sinclair, I'm so sorry I wasn't here to greet you properly." His genuine excitement drained Ryan's face of all color. The knife clattered to the floor. I left immediately, but I didn't know then that Randy had already posted my address. Within hours, angry chefs were planning revenge. My phone buzzed with messages in the group chat. "Watch out for this one. Claims to be a health inspector, but she's just a scammer. lives at 4782 Maple Street, Apton 3B. Dozens of chefs saved my address, added their own lies, and shared my grimacing photo with defamatory captions. When I pulled into my complex, I saw a suspicious van. Taped to my door was a printed photo of me labeled liar. Inside, I locked the deadbolt and leaned against the door, trying to steady my breathing. Over the next hour, I documented everything: screenshots of messages, photos of vandalism, timestamps of each threat. My official start date was still 5 days away, with 5 days for this to spiral completely out of control. The next morning, pounding on my door revealed 2 men in chef whites, one recording. They left without talking, but their message was clear. I couldn't stay trapped forever. I forced myself out the back exit and headed to my first pre-inspection restaurant, a smooth visit with no recognition. But at the second location, head chef glanced at his phone and blocked my path. "You need to leave. We don't serve your kind here." I complied, cheeks burning. More messages arrived, a voice note of heavy breathing, a photo of my car, and a text from Randy. This is just the beginning. Harassment escalated. Chefs showed up at every restaurant I tried to inspect. Security cameras caught strangers trying my door handle at night. Someone left a box of rotting fish outside. My tires were deflated twice. I kept detailed records, every message, every incident. On the 4th day, I arrived at a small bistro and ran into the same line cook from Ryan's kitchen. He pointed his phone at me and whispered to open the group chat. Phones clicked. I maintained my composure and left without argument. My blood pounded as I drove away. That night, 3 chefs spray-painted my door and tried to jimmy the lock. Building security got involved. "I'm getting complaints all week," said the guard. But when I showed him camera footage, he promised to file a report and hinted the management might ask me to leave if disturbances continued. Randy was aiming to get me evicted. The next day, my supervisor, Connor, had news. 6 restaurant owners had filed formal complaints against me, alleging unprofessional conduct. I calmly presented my evidence of coordinated harassment: screenshots, photos, eyewitness accounts. Several owners withdrew their complaints, admitting Randy's threats. Connor cleared me and opened an investigation into his interference. With his support, more restaurants cooperated. Tired of Randy's bullying, they shared stories of his intimidation. I used a fake social account to join chef forums, discovering a decade-long pattern: women plagued by harassment, staff forced to cover up violations. Some were driven out of the industry entirely. Armed with this, I scheduled an official follow-up inspection at Randy's restaurant. Numerous critical violations awaited: raw and cooked food cross-contaminated, grease buildup, expired items hidden behind newer stock, and a broken hand-washing station. I documented everything while his exhausted sous chef, Walton, slipped me messages Randy had sent instructing staff to lie. That evening, his desperate campaign peaked. 5 chefs at my door, pounding and shouting. One attempt at breaking and entering was caught on camera. Building management, now alerted by security, vowed immediate action next time. Randy's network was fracturing. 3 weeks after his first attack, the health department suspended Randy's restaurant license. His professional network turned on him. The State Restaurant Association revoked his membership, culinary schools banned him, and other districts refused to hire him. Walton was promoted to head chef. The owner pledged reforms. Staff who once feared Randy now reported code violations proudly. I continued inspections, now welcomed as a partner in public health. One day, I found a card and small gift from dozens of restaurant workers, thanking me for standing up to Randy and making the industry safer. My ordeal spawned new department policies: anonymous reporting of inspector harassment, mandatory training on professional conduct, and stronger alliances with restaurant associations. By the time my official start date arrived, the culinary district had changed. Kitchens ran on respect instead of fear. Former victims of Randy, servers, line cooks, sous chefs, returned to the industry. Even Randy himself resurfaced briefly at a food truck 2 districts over, only to be promptly dismissed when his reputation followed him. Today, I conduct routine inspections with pride, knowing that standing firm against one abusive chef helped transform an entire community. What began as a campaign to ruin my career became a movement to reform an industry. And as I prepare for each new inspection, I'm reminded that accountability and integrity are more powerful than intimidation, and that true change often starts with just one person willing to speak up.